In this year's Age of Rebellion special comic, we saw just how sad and defeated Yoda was during the era of the Empire, forced to live with the painful consequences of overseeing the Jedi Order during its destruction. There were great reveals, like the decision by Yoda to never again yield a lightsaber as part of his penance, which we discussed in a recent video. But more interesting in my opinion is the exact recognition by Yoda of his own failures as Grand Master of the Jedi Order. Namely, his own hubris and blindness to the true threat circling within the galaxy. Of course, this is a canon comic, but we have seen similar admissions by Yoda within Legends, including within the Episode 3 novelization, recognizing he failed the Jedi Order through his own arrogance, failing to train Jedi in a way that was relevant to the modern age. But as good as this understanding by Yoda is within Legends, the specific focus by Yoda in canon upon his hubris and blindness is perfectly in line with the goals and actions of Darth Bane and Darth Plagueis in Legends, who directly attack the overconfidence of the Jedi and their blind obedience to the Republic. In setting these as targets for the Sith, the Rule of Two was the perfect weapon against the Jedi. Although Yoda's words in the Age of Republic special are canon, it's interesting to compare them with the statements made by Bane and Plagueis in Legends, as they correlate perfectly, hopefully setting the stage for other great stories with these Sith within canon one day. In this way, it's fascinating to see Yoda admit that the path chosen by the Sith, and specifically Bane and Plagueis, was correct, defining the weaknesses of the Jedi Order perfectly. Yoda's understanding that it was blindness that resulted in his exile on Dagobah is a fitting one. As seen within the Darth Bane trilogy, it was the blindness of the Jedi that would be preyed upon by the creator of the Rule of Two to great effect. Even within his own era, a millennium before the Sith grand plan would be fulfilled, Bane recognized that the Sith should act to continuously, quote, blind the eyes of the Jedi Council. His apprentice Xana didn't quite yet understand what this meant, but Bane couldn't be more sure. According to Bane, the greatest weakness of the Jedi was their commitment, at their own expense, to the Republic. As Bane explained, the Jedi have surrendered themselves to the will of the Senate. They have let themselves sink into the morass of politics and bureaucracy. The Republic seeks a single, unified government to maintain peace throughout the galaxy, and the Jedi have been reduced to nothing more than a tool to make it happen. Bane's point couldn't have been more clear. The Sith goal of gaining strength in the shadows was aimed directly at the blindness of the Jedi. Successful because the Order was too focused on maintaining the galactic order underpinned by the Republic. This blindness has now been recognized by Yoda within canon, but far too late, having allowed the Republic to drag them down the path that would give rise to the Sith. Being a descendant of Darth Bane, Plagueis recognized the value of the Jedi's blindness in this regard as well. The Jedi were shackled to obedience, not to the Force, but to what Plagueis referred to as their cherished Republic. The Jedi commitment to the Republic disgusted Plagueis, viewing the Jedi as indulgent parents who allowed their offspring to steer galactic events no matter the consequences, rather than listening to the Force. Like Bane, Plagueis saw this not just as the source of the Order's decay, but also as the perfect target for the Sith. Plagueis knew that dark times were coming, and it would be the blindness of the Jedi in their doing everything to uphold the Republic rather than focusing on the rise of the dark side that would make the Sith the eventual rulers of the galaxy. But the hubris of the Jedi, their excessive pride and self-confidence that made them sure the Sith would never return to power, was the true downfall of the Jedi for Plagueis, a hubris now well established by Yoda within canon. Plagueis thought the Jedi practice of allowing thousands into the Order spoke to their overconfidence, with the Jedi believing any Force user could carry on the responsibilities of the Force. While tens of thousands of Jedi joined the Order over the previous 1,000 years, only 30 could call themselves Dark Lords of the Sith. But even more than that, the hubris of the Jedi made them completely indifferent to the rising tide of the dark side that was so clearly perceptible to anyone who could touch the Force. Certainly, some Jedi foresaw this, and the High Council was worried about the dark times ahead, and yet, their overconfidence and hubris pushed them to cling to their old traditions. Training remained the same, and the Jedi continued to be the guardians of the Galactic Order. Although Plagueis couldn't understand why the Jedi didn't simply take power for themselves from the obviously doomed Republic, he would nonetheless take advantage of the situation for the Sith. Yoda's words of hubris and blindness in the Age of Republic special are so perfect, as they were the exact attributes that led Plagueis and Sidious to invent and craft the Clone War. When discussing how to bring the Sith Grand Plan into existence, Sidious touched on these Jedi weaknesses perfectly, telling Plagueis, "The Jedi will have to be felled from within. We will have to exploit their vanity and blind obedience to the Republic." Therefore, this new perspective from Yoda within canon captures the planning and understanding of the Sith in the Rule of Two era, from Bane to Plagueis and Sidious. In hindsight, Yoda knew the Sith were correct. The Jedi hubris and blindness as protectors of the Republic is what made them vulnerable to the Sith. Although these Sith points of view are legends, with this new material for Yoda in canon, I do hope that we get to see a lot of the same themes developed for Bane and Plagueis once their canon stories are finally revealed. So there we have it, the great connections between Yoda and canon and the actual planning by the Sith within Legends. We love making these videos, so why not subscribe for more fun Star Wars theories and discussions. Also, if you enjoyed the video, think about giving a like or leaving a comment. Or perhaps follow us on Twitter at SW Reading Club for updates regarding the channel. Or support the channel through Patreon for access to exclusive rewards and discussions. If not for me, for setting up potential canon Sith stories.